Sudan reopened its airspace on Wednesday after repelling an armed revolt by former security agents linked to ousted former President Omar al-Bashir. Gunfire erupted Tuesday at two buildings used by the Sudanese General Intelligence Service in Khartoum. The army reported that two soldiers were killed and four were wounded in several hours of fighting in Khartoum against former members of the once feared security service before government forces halted the uprising. Now, for more perspective on this story, I'm joined today by Quscondy Abdulshafi, the Freedom House Regional Advisor for Sudan. Quscondy, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you for having me, VOA.
You're welcome. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to what exactly happened on Tuesday. What is your analysis on how things are and what triggered this revolt?
Yeah, so the different stories have been, one went up to that this is a military coup, others say it is just a simple protest. But yes, in my, based on what I have been following up, it is a coordinated strike, but it wasn't a military coup in different aspects of what was happened. So, however, this is not a simple thing that to be seen, but it is something that could be seen as one of the trends of the security sector reform and challenge that stands ahead for the government. So this is mainly a strike by the National Intelligence and Security Service because they are being dismissed from their department and they are being asked to join the different department in the security, but they refuse because they will now enjoy the same privilege they have been enjoyed before when they were
So what's the trajectory now of the current security forces? Because we have a transition government in place. We understand that some of these security forces, came from different, sectors within the forces of former president. Where are they heading in this transition?
So in this transition, these forces, because they are originally, their foundations were foundations found to protect the regime and stands with the President Bashir. So as soon as the head of the regime is removed from the power, they lost their direct command of the state house. And that's why it makes them useless. They don't know what to do, but they spoil it, but they also are not only the security, military trained, highly trained individual, they are in different departments within the government, in the finance sector, service sector, and in different government institutions, including the largest sector of private economics. They are the ones who are controlling.
What does this uprising now mean for the efforts that have been ongoing through this new transition government to bring justice and accountability for Sudan?
So this is going on, seeing this as one of the challenge and also seeing the situation in the ground as very fast, dynamic, and changing in any moment. And particularly the main factors to seeing in how to influence the trajectory of the transitional period is looking at these forces, the private forces, ideologize it, more control it, well-train it, and somehow organize it under the previous leaders of the previous regime.
So very briefly, what do you see as the benchmarks that may affect the current state of affairs where this new government is trying to put things back to normal and bring democracy to the country?
So the benchmark is that the biggest benchmark is one is that this agreement has phases. So phase one is gone. Is what is now phase two. Civilians has to take the power. Means the civilian sector of the government will take the lead, and the military will step a bit down and become the same compromise, the same process. So the benchmark is if the civilian government is in place and they have a parliament, might they do the laws and try to seriously touch the issues of justice and accountability for the grievances. So I think that is a difficult moment.
Quscondy, thank you very much for your analysis on this.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Abdulshafi Quscondy is the Freedom House Regional Advisor for Sudan.